Hey, what's up everybody? So, I know I just got a bunch more subscribers thanks to TFL posting a little video of my truck. They kind of threw it into the high mileage category. That was not by my choice. That was something they did. But I figured I've been meaning to do a update video for a long time now, just to go over some of the new things I've done and maybe give some people some more ideas, or if they're interested in it, they can ask me some questions. But if you're new to the channel, it's a 2013 F150 FX4. Obviously, it's the SuperCrew with a short bed, as you can see there. And right now, it's got 70,000 miles on it or so. So I split it up into some different categories: exterior, performance or engine, bed, and interior. So I'll just start going through it, and hopefully this gives you some ideas on what you want to do, and let me know if you have any questions at the end. Okay, so some of this might be a little bit repetitive if you watch the TFL video, but I'm going to try to go into some more detail. They cut a little bit out of what I submitted just to save time. But so first thing I'll start with are my methods. The model is NV305s. They are 17 by 8s. As far as the tire, obviously they're, as you can probably see, they're BFG KO2s. They are 35 by 12.5s. With the wheels, I forgot to mention, do have 0 offset. So that brings them out a lot, which forces you to do two things. The first is you have to do some trimming. So as you can see, I trimmed the front lower valance there, giving you some tire clearance as you turn. And you also have to trim a little bit in the back. I have a whole video on that. It's definitely not for the faint-hearted. You have to cut into the body a little bit, but that's not too bad. It also forces you to get fender flares unless you really want mud and rock chips all over the side of your truck. Something I didn't really think about at first, but they're definitely helpful. These are, I believe the brand is called Paramout, and they're really cheap. They were like $300 some, which in comparison is a pretty good deal compared to like the bushwhackers and stuff like that. I also added these cheap Rally Armor mud flaps. I think they're like 20 or 30 bucks on Amazon. Really filthy right now, obviously, but that just further helps the rocks and dirt from kicking up and covering the whole side of the truck, which gets so bad that at some points it was up to my windows. It was really hard to see out of them. So as you can see, I have the Raptor running boards on. The previous owner, before I bought the truck, put them on. I bought the truck at since 20,000 miles, so I've been I put 50,000 on it. Going back to the rear here, again, as I mentioned before, this is the Bax MX4 bed cover, or the back flip. Works out pretty well. I like that it's a hard close, so your stuff's a little bit more secure than just a soft tonneau. I have black oak LEDs. These are diffused ones in the rear that are hooked up to a switch in the cab, and I have floods in the front that are mounted as ditch lights up on the hood brackets up here. As you probably noticed, the bumpers are bed lined. I use what they call Raptor Liner. It's a do-it-yourself bed liner, and it's pretty easy. I have Bilstein 5100s on. Horrible view there. Let me go to the back. Alright, Bilstein 5100s. The front is adjusted to 2¼ inches. Pretty much as high as that shock will go. And that levels the truck, but then I was squatting a lot when I was towing my camper, so I put a 1¼ inch lift back here from Halo Lifts. Just a big aluminum block that goes back there. And lastly, for exterior, I'll talk about, I got Recon taillights and third brake light up there. So I do like how they look. The only thing I'll say is that my passenger side one likes to, you can see a little bit down here, likes to fog up. So there's a leak somewhere. I've tried to seal it a couple times with some silicone, but moisture always seems to get in there, which is a big pain in the butt. But I just like get a heat gun and put it in there with some, and everything seems to evaporate. Okay, so the next thing I'll talk about are engine mods or performance mods. The first thing you'll notice is the full race intercooler. That's my most recent performance modification. It really just gets it up out of the way, so you can run whatever bumper you want, like a pre-runner bumper, or you can even put a winch down in that gap. Next to it, you'll see my RX catch can, which I was forced to relocate slightly because of the intercooler here, but it's super easy. Just move it over and drill a new hole. Not a problem. But the only thing that does cause this hood bracket, which is on the driver's side, I had to remove from the passenger side there, so that way it can clear and close properly. And you also notice I have some mesh up here that I just wanted to protect the intercooler from rock chips. You also notice that I put in an Optimum battery. My battery just died after 7 years and 70,000 miles, so lasted a pretty long time. Alright, on the driver's side of the engine bay, first you'll notice my S&B Cold Air Intake, and back here I have my UPR clean side catch can. So before I was getting some oil residue that was coming into the intake from the clean side PCV valve, and so I just wanted a way to get rid of that, so the catch can is able to achieve that. I probably only have to like empty that, I mean honestly, you go months at a time even in the winter. This, however, in the winter I get so much blow-by on cold startups, especially here in Alaska, that I clean that out about once a week. And if you don't clean it out, sometimes you'll like suck oil in and have to burn it all out, everything that gets in the exhaust. But so if you just remember to clean it out when you're in cold environments frequently, you'll have no issues. In the summer though, I could probably go months in the summer, especially when I lived down in Georgia, without emptying that out, and I would be fine. As far as exhaust goes, I have Solar Performance off-road downpipes on this, and I also have this Aero turbine exhaust. As you can see, this filthy muffler tip. Unfortunately, I don't make the Aero exhaust anymore. I'm not sure why they stopped making it, but I have a lot of guys ask me about it, and I can't find anywhere that sells it. So, sorry. Alright, so back here in the bed, I've done quite a few things. The first thing, I have this Deezee tailgate assist, which just really makes it a soft open tailgate, which is super nice, especially when your arms are full. You can't see it, but I do have a locking tailgate mechanism that is hooked up to the key, so I can lock the tailgate whenever I want. I have the Ford OEM bed dividers, super convenient for storing groceries. You close this all up and you can throw groceries in there or small items, they don't roll around. Also nice when you're moving furniture or large loads, you can swing it out and it comes out here and you have, 2 extra feet of bed space. I have, as you can see, just a generic shovel mounted, and my Maxsa Skater Buddies mounted. Those are all mounted with quick fists. Going on, as you can see, I have a air compressor set up. That's a Viair air compressor. It's set up to a pressure switch and a relay, so that way if I'm not running it, if it's not hooked up to a tire, for instance, it stops running. There's my air chuck, which I run my hose to my tires with. I also have my switch. So here's the switch for the compressors here. Here's my switch for my underbed lights. You can see there's a light up there. Super useful for just doing anything at night. Okay, my last category is the interior. So starting from left here, we'll go left to right. I have my TurboSmart boost gauge. Pretty easy to install. The only thing, I had to get a 3D printed mount here that would go behind the air vent there. That was on eBay. It was pretty cheap, but not a lot of people sell it. Roush used to make one, but they don't make it anymore. Right here you can see my SET X4. That's how I put the tune on the truck. I do have a 5-star tune. That's who does all my tuning. And with that, I monitor my coolant temp, specifically my boost and my inlet air temperatures. Moving over to the right, I got my Andoblil, I guess is how you say it, wireless charging car mount, or phone mount. Makes it super easy to use it for navigation. Just charge the phone, keep your phone up and visible if you're using it for GPS for off-roading and stuff like that. I do have my Uniden, the model is a PC78 LTX CB radio. I got the hand mic set up down here, super easy to grab when I'm wheeling, and it keeps it out of the way most of the time. Going over to the right more, we have this is a Crown off-road switch panel. It goes in that space where that useless cubby is. I think I might upgrade to a F250 upfitter switch panel there. I saw a guy that had a mod that I really like, so I'll probably end up doing that. I'm not sure how the lighting is going to be, but this is a vehicle OCD center console divider. It makes it super easy, and everything's visible. Everything's just not in a pile down there. It makes the space a lot more usable. Okay, back here I have a One Tigris backseat organizer. Basically it straps around the front seat. I got all my recovery gear in here and gloves and stuff. Just gives you some more space, and it's super easy to access. I also have a fire extinguisher that's mounted onto a seat rail frame. Super easy to get to, super easy to undo. Okay, and the last thing, I have a Husky under seat storage compartment right here. Keeps everything from just rolling out under your bed, and keeps it nice and organized. Alright, hopefully that wind noise isn't too bad, but I'm just going to go over what issues I had with the truck so far, over 70,000 miles in 7 years. Again, this is going to be a little bit repetitive if you saw the segment on TFL truck. But my rear defroster went out maybe about a year ago, around 60,000 miles. The button stopped lighting up, and if you do some research, that's the first symptom. It has to do with the switch on the sliding back window here. If the circuit doesn't close properly, the defroster stops working, and there's just a break in the system. So I also had a rattle on startup. It would happen occasionally when I lived in Georgia approximately 3 years ago, and I did some research, and some guys were saying use better oil filters. So I've been doing that, and it's fixed the problem. I know Ford had a TSB for it, and that was you know, in relation to the timing chain. Obviously, that's the sound that you're hearing, but they replaced phasers in the timing chain, all that kind of stuff. But I haven't really had issues since, so I was going to keep doing what I'm doing, and if it starts to get worse again, I will address it. I also did have a weep hole in the intercooler before. I drilled it out because on these Ecoboost, condensation likes to build up in the old intercooler. Obviously I don't have that issue anymore, but the old intercooler, I did have the weep hole. So look into that if you're having the old Ecoboost shutter, is what they call it, at like wide open throttle, the engine will misfire. So look into the weep hole if that sounds familiar. And lastly, I put in a new thermostat. The truck was overheating, towing a very light camper at slow speeds up steep hills. So I put in a new thermostat. When I took it out, you could feel like the grittiness and its tendency to stick. So those are the issues I've had over 70,000 miles. Alright, that pretty much wraps up my list of mods. I might have missed some stuff. Hopefully I gave you guys some stuff to think about, and if you're interested or if you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to try to put links to everything I've done in the description below, so if you guys want to buy it or you want to know what the exact part is, you can find it there. Alright guys, well thanks for watching, have a good one, and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.